Yes, hello, as just mentioned, I'm Kenley from Quizlet, which, I don't know, show of hands if anybody's heard of Quizlet.
Yeah.
Woo! Nice, nice, love it. For those that don't, my guess is you are not Gen Z, maybe millennial plus. It's a huge platform for Gen Z, helping everyone, everywhere learn, and yeah, particularly popular among the college set, which makes me very excited to be here talking to Ian, and wondering, is senior year you proud? But Ian, do you want to do a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Ian Wishingrad, TRF 08 entrepreneurship minor, and it really played into my career because I do things both TV, radio, and entrepreneurship. Absolutely love Syracuse, love Newhouse, and yeah, excited to to share whatever
See what happens. See what happens. Okay, so this is fun. As a Syracuse alum here at Newhouse, take me back. In senior year, where do you think you're going, and what are your goals?
Okay, so the reason I said this is senior year you proud, because I find that my life was 3 years middle school. I mean, we did obviously elementary, but you grow up and your life has these defined moments. Then you graduate high school for 4 years, then you go to college for 4 years. But then your mid-20s, you're in the city and you're working, and you don't know if you're doing well or not. You're you're like, I was magna cum laude, I had a 3 whatever. Those things you know how to measure, but your own success in your career, there's no governor anymore. You could go much farther, or you could even be held back. And so I always asked myself, and it was different a lot of times, but is me 22, senior year, imagining my future, am I yeah, you're doing well, or you're like, bro, So that's been my rubric a lot of times of to figure out if I'm doing well or not.
Okay, and did you, obviously you were working towards a career in media advertising, all of that. Where did you expect to go?
I had grand aspirations, to be honest. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to get there. I definitely saw myself kind of in the ad world, being an ad guy. And then as I kind of got into that industry and understood that, there's a few things. Advertising really only deals with one part of a business. You don't really get to deal with everything. You report to the CMO, and then you realize the CMO is just one part of a business. And then the other thing is just, can you work for other people, which I can't. I have a track record of being unable to work for other people. So then you start to figure out, okay, the best way to sort of do this is to do it on your own. And then, you kind of build up a muscle that more people have than they realize.
Okay, and so before we get to where you are now, just a little bit more of, you were creative, working with big brands, big agency life. What was the best part about that?
So the best part was, can we go to the next slide just as an example, just things a still photo to look at. Is it a video or still?
It's a video.
All right, then we'll wait for that.
1 second.
Anyway,
1 second. Yeah. We'll get there in 1 second.
But anyway, I'm an only child. I learned how to get a lot of attention. I was attention seeking and all those negative behavior things. And then my senior year, which we'll discuss, I found a way to do something attention seeking, but it wasn't on me, it was something I created. And that was very satisfying to me, just creating something that other people like to give attention to. And I started to see the reward of knowing how to capture attention and direct it. And that sort of was the foundation of my creative life and where I sort of am.
Okay. All right, and so now I want to get to, how do you get to launching a company? But should we watch the video first?
We can go in any order you want, but the order is weird. But anyway, what do you want to do?
Let's watch the video.
All right, so then just cue the video. Hold on, before you play the video. So this is a video I made when I was 22. So here's what happened, okay? I was a senior at Syracuse. I created something that went really viral before anyone turned. It was 08, right? This is Facebook's out, but it's not for the public yet. And Twitter's I don't even know if Twitter existed yet. So it was early, real, viral stuff. And so this was, I got shut down by the university. Syracuse shut me down 3 weeks before graduating, scared the shit out of me. But I knew I had a good portfolio piece, and if you're trying to go into advertising or a creative venture, you need to have a portfolio and showcase. So I in Final Cut Pro made this video. So it's a little cringy, because it's like you see a young guy trying to get a job through the background of all of this, but it does convey the idea. So. All right, pause for 1 second, just pause. Okay, so there was a still image before. Okay, let me just set the stage. My senior year, we had a star, Syracuse is known for basketball. We had a guy named Dante Green, okay? And we had won the championship a few years prior, so we had these great recruiting classes. He was a freshman, and he was supposed to be the next Carmelo Anthony, okay? And after LeBron went to the NBA, they made a rule where you have to go to college for 1 year. You can't just go right from high school to the NBA. So everyone was afraid that this guy, Dante Green, was going to be a one and done. He'd come, he'd show off, he'd look good, and he'd go to the draft. And so he spelled his name with an accent, Dante, accent over the second E. And I made a t-shirt, and I made it an apostrophe, so it said, Dante leave. And I got him to wear, I was selling these t-shirts, like illegally, whatever, and he heard about it, and I got him to wear the shirt on like ESPN game day in the Carrier Dome against Georgetown, like 20, 30,000 people, and it blew up. And so that's now some context. Okay.
Getting some singles and triggers.
Assured that Red Dante leave, referring to whether or not he'll leave from the NBA after one season. Will he stay or will he go? What we're all dying to know, of course, is will Dante be back for his sophomore season or is he going to go straight into the NBA? This shirt, green more for the Georgia team, is SU fans.
That's me.
Gray hair.
I see what they did there. Two SU students made the shirt. Three of the freshmen swore to stick around for at least another year. They gave it to him the day before the Orioles played, and were a bit surprised he actually wore it. Bob has this chunking of money. I'm going like, man, I had this stupidest person to the truth.
Could you estimate revenues from that campaign?
No, but it set me on my whole life. Like that was it. Like so, I got recruited. I was Syracuse. Newhouse does a great job of getting people jobs. I got my internships through Newhouse. So there was a career day. Someone had gone to Newhouse, recruited me to an ad agency. So I had a job before I left school, and it was all thanks to this. Since I started to basically do attention-getting viral campaigns as a career move, and it was fun.
Amazing. And so, how do you get to where you are now, being behind a brand of your own?
Sure.
And maybe, actually, let's tell people about Three Wishes.
Okay, so I'm curious. Please don't raise for my favor. I'm trying to understand. Like, if I said Three Wishes cereal, how many people have heard of it? Okay, that's good. That's fine. All right. So my last name is Wishingrad. 10 years ago, I started an ad agency and was building brands for other clients. Really enjoyed building brands, and some of them got kind of big. And it's rewarding, but at the same time, you feel like, you start to get this feeling that you can make a brand, and it would be cool to own the brand and not just do the branding and the advertising. So we started Three Wishes cereal 7 years ago, behind the scenes for 2 years, trying to make the cereal. It's much harder than I anticipated to make like a better for you, good ingredient, good tasting cereal. And then we launched 5 years ago. And it's called Three Wishes because my last name is Wishingrad, and at the time it was my wife, my first son, and me. And then the 3 wishes were high protein, low sugar, grain free. And so it's like double entendre on 3 wishes. And we're like one of the fastest growing better for you cereal brands. And that was wanting to have my own brand was the sort of the
And they taste good.
Yeah, obviously.
So what was the most, like the surprisingly challenging part, like the part that you didn't think was going to be hard?
I did not think making a product was that hard. Like I was like, we'll make a healthier cereal, and we'll make a cool branding, and then we'll sell it. Really difficult to use. Like our ingredients, which don't sound delicious, are chickpea, pea protein, tapioca, monk fruit, organic cane sugar. Like these ingredients, especially the proteins, don't lend themselves. You don't want things to taste like pee, and they're very dense products, so it's hard to extrude them and make them have a good mouthfeel. People really don't want to compromise on the experience of cereal. They'll do it once, or if you're on a diet, but that's not really the way to build a long-term brand. So to make a really good cereal, I call it a taste tax. Like, I think we're all willing to pay a little bit of a taste tax when we know we're doing better for you, but not that much. And so to make that product was way harder than I thought.
And did you got some food scientists involved?
Yeah. Not that I know them, but like it all starts with what you said. It's like networking and meeting people. Like, one of my expressions, I don't know, I go antiquing for people. I love people, and I love meeting people and collecting them and putting them in my phone and thinking about, you know, how to eventually, you know, connect the dots and make something. So I had plenty of clients in the food and beverage space. So when we wanted to do cereal, you start picking up the phone call, and 5-6 days later, you're talking to 1,000 different people. You eventually get to a woman in the Midwest that knows protein cereal extrusion.
Amazing. And on the other side, what was something that was surprisingly easy? Work.
One was, have you guys ever heard of Sprouts? Yeah. Okay, so it's not up in the Northeast, but it's like it's like Whole Foods is the national Whole Foods, and then Sprouts is like the slightly more affordable, fast challenger to Sprouts. It was my last in-person meeting before the pandemic, a couple months after we launched, and my wife and I flew down to Arizona. We go to Sprouts, and everything's really cheap, and our cereal at the time still always is more expensive than conventional. We're like, oh God, how are we going to compete? Everything's so cheap. And the buyer was like, oh yeah, it's like you're going to be in. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, like, oh, I keep lowering prices. It doesn't do anything. There's no innovation. And so it was like, and she thought the packaging was cute, and you were like, okay. It's like a multi-million-dollar great account for us, and it was just like a vet liked it, you know?
And was that on a, like, we'll take a limited run in one store, and they were like,
No. It was like, you're going chain wide, 3 SKUs. You're like, okay.
And is that, in a way, actually terrifying? Of like, are we going to be able to make enough?
Some Costco orders have been terrifying, because they like to then they reappear quickly, and you have to satisfy Costco. But no, they're not terrifying.
Okay. And so you're on a journey, building a brand as a creative marketer by trade, and a lot of experience with these brands with really deep pockets. You know, have the ability to do something huge or do something, you know, amazing or whatnot. Are you following that playbook right now, or how are you thinking about how to get attention, how to build a brand?
So there's like 2 playbooks to growing a brand, and they've kind of changed since we launched. When we launched, it was, have you guys heard of the cheap money era? When interest rates were 0, and every day you read the press, Casper raised $1 billion at a $10 billion valuation, and you're like, okay. And like everyone's raising some crazy money, and it was a direct-to-consumer business model where it's like, let's just burn cash and grit really big, and we will figure out how to be profitable later. We did not do that. There were 2 ways. We did have to raise some money. We raised like $2 million in 2019, but we were really determined to not be on this raise a Series A, raise a Series B, raise a Series C. So we took a kind of like a very measured approach to growth. So like Target stores came to us, and we said no. They came again, we said no. And on the 3rd time, we said yes to Target, because you don't want to put your brand prematurely in retail, and then no one knows it, it doesn't move, and then you're trying to like make it move so you don't get kicked out. So we were our kind of growth strategy was very kind of slow and steady. And so, yes, we did fun marketing stunts. I don't have them here, but we have a ton of cute other like virally things we've done. Did a little bit of PR, a lot of it gifting, but no really traditional advertising. We were very fortunate that just early days, the packaging was cute, it was good messaging, the product was good, the price was good. It was the most rudimentary way to grow a brand. It started to move off shelf. And if it wasn't doing that, we'd have a lot of problems.
Was that in a way like frustrating for you, like wanting to unleash your creative?
No, that was like what I prayed for. You know, it was like, is it gonna work?
Yeah.
Because it worked. And so, and now we're at the point as we're getting bigger and you're getting really broad distribution, you have to start, you know, taking a portion of revenue and start to market. We're starting to get to my world. You know, like where you're like, oh, we have some budget, you know, yeah. But barely, you know.
Okay, so then now, how are you thinking about like where you might deploy for brand or how much versus like driving purchase, driving loyalty? As you're saying, like there's, you know, taste tests, people are going to try it.
Sure.
How do they
Yeah, so we do, I mean, do you guys know the term trade spend? So if you don't know trade spend, when you see a cereal and it's $1 off, that's not like ShopRite being generous. We paid for that too. We took a cut on margin to share the savings. And that is one-on-one a very effective way to drive trial. People love to see the sale tag and do that. So we work, that's our bottom funnel. Like, SEO for direct-to-consumer products is low funnel. For us, giving discounts at store is low funnel. And so then you work to get those end cap displays. Those are our Super Bowls, those big end cap displays. That's when a lot of people discover you. And we do those, and we spend millions of dollars in trade to get there. But then as we start to gain that distribution, we start to figure out what's the best dollar spent. And it's a huge debate in the company, because I would love to shoot something and run some CTV, because that's in my wheelhouse, but we don't think that's the right thing. So we sort of created this thing called Trusted Voices, is what we say internally. We brought on someone full-time, who was the hardest hire in the world, to find an internal social media influencer person, really hard hire. And then we basically target 3 people: millennial moms, people that have a health and wellness lifestyle, they love to work out, they're just gym rat type people, and then people that have needs. They have celiac, they have IBS, they have diabetes. And so basically slowly spending more and more money on partnerships and gifting to those constituents.
Gotcha. To create this well of other influencers. Why was the internal social hire so hard?
Well, we were thinking, we always thought, like, let's just hire a young person out of college. It's nightmare.
Even with all the
No,
amazing
we needed to hire someone 2 years out of college that had agency training in the influencer space. That was the move.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Every young person thinks they know social. It's not, is a difference in application to business.
Correct. Okay. Yes. I think that's valid. And okay. So, actually, before we go back, I think we have one more video.
Okay, so before you play the next video, so this is an example of how, so that was like my stunt senior year that got me in trouble, and then in 2021 in July, do you guys know about name, image, likeness, the NIL deals?
Yeah.
So I read that, oh my gosh, college kids can be paid now. Back in the day, not that I paid Dante, but I was technically profiting off of an amateur athlete, which is illegal. And then in 2021, like, no, you can just pay athletes now. So I was like, okay, if we are the first brand to put a college athlete on a box of cereal like Wheaties, and we make a first real looking commercial, not like, the minute they tell you can make money and they're like, buy my slides, or some, merch stuff. Like, make it look like the way Michael Jordan did the McDonald's commercials, or a Nike commercial, or something real. If we look real and we do this deal, we're gonna get a lot of buzz. And so, at the time, Syracuse had a famous coach named Jim Boeheim, and his son, Buddy Boeheim, was the star. And so I, worked my way with like in a day to his wife, and struck a deal for their son, Buddy. And then this is what we did.
What does that say? Zanzibar. What does that seem?
It's all gonna happen. It's worth it.
What does that seem?
It's probably a lie.
It's downloaded, guys. We pre-downloaded all assets.
The only video of the day.
Alright.
The best.
Anyway, we made a commercial with Buddy. I called it 3 Swishes. He was a 3-point shooter. And the idea was like, I also know that athletes can't act unless they're Peyton Manning. So I made it really simple, and the idea was he kept screwing up, and he goes, try 3 swishes cereal. Damn it, buddy. And he just kept getting angry at himself for not calling it 3 wishes, and whatever. So that's the spot.
It's good. Find it. So how did you deploy that?
Oh, that was just like, Buddy, that world, people are still like between Twitter and like, there's such a rabid fan base of sports reporting and college basketball. We just got it to it just got put out and then it literally got reported. Like if you tweeted or X'd or whatever you want to do, you know, it will get picked up. So he pushed it out, it got picked up, and then Wegmans, so you guys know Wegmans, right, if you went to Syracuse. So people started, Wegmans called me, like, what is this buddy box? And I rendered the buddy box months before it was ready. I made it in 2 weeks, like as a digital render, and then it wasn't gonna be ready till February. And people were coming into Wegmans, give me the buddy box. And so I was like, it's not ready yet. But I know you want the orders. And so that was cool, because then a retailer leaned in, and we got these big displays, and so, you know, it was like fun.
Gotcha, so, okay, so in a way, like a bit of a fail that ended up being better, because then Wegmans like, we need to.
Oh, it wasn't a fail, that's the
Yeah.
best. When a store's calling you, go and give me something, that's like, you've won.
Yeah, awesome. So, okay, back to in senior year. Did you expect to be at a female-led, majority female company?
Well, the female's my wife, so I reported to her anyway. So.
Just acknowledging.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have, like, I'm not an operator, like these, that's what I kind of meant when I meant back, like agency world. You report to the CMO has a budget, it's the first thing they slash when business isn't right. Like, you need operators, you need people that understand operators, P&Ls, like the day-to-day, the relationships with the co-manufacturers, all that stuff. That takes like a non-ADD person to do that. So, no, I don't mind at all. It's not difficult. She's an amazing operator and CEO, so I'm, you know, co-founder and help do the sales and marketing and,
Yeah.
you know, what do you need me to help you with today? But keeping the trains running on time is different.
Yeah, and it's also, the organization as a whole is pretty heavily female
We just
too,
don't
right?
think men are good, honestly.
Right.
They are, in general, with the exception of me, and I can't, you know, I'm the founder, they are tend to be not detail-oriented, sort of entitled, so.
What is enough?
Yeah, so we're good, you know, like my wife, these are all great, hardworking, awesome women. And it's like, we're not anti it, we'd be open to it, we've interviewed guys for certain jobs, but.
Yeah. I love that. And do you think that has an overall impact on your business? Do you think it's, like, there's something particularly different about the way that you're approaching the market or approaching the world or growth, because it's very...
It's a cool team, like we are not, it is like when I say, it's, no, like they're just cool, it's cool, it's a cool company, cool girls, like it's not, no, there's nothing inherently feminine about it, it's just,
Yeah,
they are the right people for the job.
Getting the job done.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do want to talk a little bit about your new product and that setup, which is leaning heavily on that female
Sure.
piece. Yeah, and it's, well, yeah, I feel like you'll do
Yeah,
better
okay.
introducing it. Yeah.
All right, so a huge part, someone told me this, it was a really good piece of advice if you're ever going to build a brand that's going to be in retail. Like, you're going to be available in stores, you're not just online. Half of the success of your business is going to be your relationships with that retailer. So as much as we're technically a business to, B2C, we are B2B2C. Like, the buyer is our customer first and foremost, because they have inordinate amounts of power over where they want to place you on the shelf. And if they think you are belong down where the Nikes are, where your feet are, you're not going to do well. You need someone who wants to put you eye level, multiple facings to give you a real shot at succeeding. And so Target came to us last year. You guys know Quaker Chewy bars, right? Of course. They had a huge recall. I forget why, but they had some sort of contamination issue. And we have a very good relationship with Target. So Target says to us, do you guys have like a bar? Do you have a 3 Wishes bar? Something like that. So we didn't have one, but our R&D team, we were able to sort of create something that fit our criteria: higher protein, lower sugar, gluten and grain-free. We fit the identical profile: peanut butter, chocolate, chocolate chip, and s'mores. And we launched bars then, and we took it basically every door at Target, and we gave them a 6-month exclusive. And now we got to drive. When a partner leans in like that, that's a big. Target taking almost all doors when you're 5 years old is like a huge thing, and it doesn't really happen. And so that was a relationship thing. Now we need to push it. So I'm naturally, besides I'd say to keep the trains on the track and the steady drumbeat of noise is gifting influencer. So I don't get involved in that. That's sort of we know our criteria and we do that. my job is to try to throw those funny bombs, the viral things on top. And so I call this viral in progress because it's not gone viral yet, but I'm currently working on it.
Incubation.
Whatever, it's happening. I'm going to make it
It's
happen.
gonna happen.
So the Quaker is like the old white guy, right? Like that old Benjamin Franklin, William Penn looking guy. And my whole team is women. So I bought the website Quaker. It was available. And I bought Quaker outfits for all the women. And the one that does social, I kind of made her go around in New York City, and I filmed her giving out bars, and we are the Quakers. And if you go to Quaker.com, it redirects you to Target, where you could buy our bars. And so like we're currently sort of pushing this whole Quaker narrative.
Reclaiming Quakers.
Yeah.
Do that. I love it. Check that out also.
One aside though, honestly, it's this one thing I really always wanted to do because back I helped win, you guys know Mentos, right? The blue Mentos pack or whatever. At one time I was working at an agency and I helped win the Mentos business. And it was this big idea and they never executed and it pissed me off. It was, I was like, why are Mentos only for men? Like it's blue, it's men, like we need Mentos. And so the idea was to create fake outrage that women want their own Mentos. And now then they get a pink one that says Mentos, and then Mentos caves to the people saying we need our Mentos, and then you get two facings and it says now available in both sexes, and then and it won the business, and they just said they can't pull it off. So I've always been like,
but I just outlined how you pull it off.
I know, but and that's my frustration with like big companies and corporations. Like the best ideas die all the time for no reasons, for politics, for excuses. For people with no vision, for people who are covering their ass, and that is just a difficult reality. So I use 3 wishes as like the fun client that will say yes to things.
Yeah. Just have to convince your wife.
Yes, hard.
Okay. I think we're. Oh, 5. Oh, okay. So, okay. 15 years in the future, what do you want to manifest for you and for your brand?
I mean, the idea was like setting out, I think, I love the really big famous established brands, like the Cheerios. Those are really, they made it. You know, there's a lot of brands that got big and they sold or something and they got killed and they didn't make it. I think I felt like this is our name. I really want this one to really live. So it'd be really cool for it to really become like the canon of American pantry brands.
Xerox.
Yeah. No. They're not doing well.
There's some going on. Cheerios. Okay, and so you think right now, asking yourself the question, is senior year you proud?
Yes.
Yes. And is there some advice you would give to a current senior at Syracuse, particularly one that is passionate about creating their own thing, running their own thing? What do they need?
Learn first, like you can. Yeah.
Don't start.
No. I mean, there's always like the Mark Zuckerberg, but like, no, learn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do out of college. You need to like learn first.
Listen to your elders, I think, is the advice. Okay.
Burn your hand.
Yeah. Any questions from the crowd?
I have a question. Okay, so you I don't know how old you said you were when you were asking yourself, am I doing well? So in your own form of measurement, not sure what type of measurement you're going off of, but are you doing well?
Yes, I would say, like, I asked myself, and being really honest, you're like, okay, if I told you these were your kids, and this was your wife, and this is where you live, and this is what you've earned, and what you can, like, no. I always tell myself, like, senior me year, like, God, good for you.
Yeah.
I hoped it, but you did it, you know? But then there were moments, like, 24, 25, 26, like, in the city, and here, and I was just like, ugh, I was not feeling that way. So you just sort of depressed and trying to figure out how to keep cracking it, but knowing, like, this is not it yet.
Super quick question. My name's Taylor, TRF, 2014. You talk about having all these big, grandiose ideas. Also, as an only child, I know you get to just ideas and no one is there to tell you no. How do you deal with having big ideas and a smaller company and trying to strike that balance of both being innovative but also being realistic? And sometimes I know money might be the answer, but are there any other sort of like check guards in place that you've put into place?
So the question, how do I deal with big ideas that I can't afford?
Not necessarily, no, not necessarily that you can't afford, but just like, are there other obstacles to you having big ideas in these early stages of your business?
I only think of, my big ideas are dependent on the challenge. The challenge when you take no money into account is the challenge. When it's for a client or something, you know there's a budget. So I think I think in regards to money.
What's the biggest idea that you could do?
When it's like,
with no money?
hey, make a Super Bowl commercial, you know, okay, we're gonna have budget, let's go do something. But when you have nothing, you're like, how do I make noise? And so it's noise with very limited resources, basically.
How'd you get him to wear the shirt?
I don't remember if he wanted it or no, I went up to him in Lucy's. He was at Lucy's, so I ran out and I gave it to him and he thought it was really cool and then he wore it in practice and then he's like, can I get another one? I'm gonna wear it during warm-ups of the game. And I was like, yes. You know, so I heard through someone and I got it to him. And he wore it, he loved the attention. Like all of a sudden, he was like just another guy. And then he was on the cover of the New York Times sports section. And then that was it became a meme, like that photo, because then he started to suck. And that's why they said, don't take shoot, don't take this. Don't take became vernacular and a meme before these things were sort of memes. And so like naturally, if you're hiring out of an ad agency, you like want young people to fit. That's like great for Pepsi or for, you know, whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, he saw the benefit, personal benefit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.